Hello and welcome back to my channel. I'm Xeno, the personification of a cry for help, and we are here with Silverstone. Now, I have been playing Dawn Chorus these past few weeks, so I figured why not give another visual novel a shot on this channel. And this one was recommended to me by my mutual Retro Ravens, so everyone go thank them for recommending this to me. Now, I know next to nothing about this game, only know that it has vibes similar to Echo. Whether it's exactly like Echo is yet to be determined, but I have been staring at this menu and all these characters, and already I can probably deduce their archetypes based on what they are. So, for example, obviously, this is the main character. This one's kind of like the don't care, rough and tough jock type. This one is the nervous small bean. This one is either very vain or very flamboyant, or both. Por qué no los dos? This one is the subsequent leader of the group, and this one is like the gentle giant of the group. That's what I deduced from this photo alone, but to be fair, I know nothing about this game, so I don't know. But anyway, let's get started, shall we? Apparently this is also a psychological horror, or like a cosmic horror. Pick up that damn phone. I swear to God. Pick it up! Do you know what we sacrificed trying to get you out of that place? Why do you want to go back there? Please, just turn around and come home. There's only one thing that still lives in Silverstone, Zeke. You'll only find pain and suffering if you go there. So assuming we're Zeke, and we're returned to Silverstone for a specific reason. What is that reason? I don't fucking know. Water slithers around me as my body floats in the ocean. Desperately, I try moving my limbs, but all I can muster is a slight twitch of my finger. I manage to open my eyes, but salt water flows straight into them as if on target. My clothes flutter around as I descend into the darkness. The light from the surface is growing dimmer by the second. The serenity I feel scares me more than the loss of light. Why won't you fight, body? Having no other options, I pry into my memories. I don't remember getting into a pool or a beach or anything of that sort. Yeah, that's right. I went to sleep in my motel room. A sudden burning in my chest makes me question whether I'm still in bed, however. It feels too real to be a simple dream, but these circumstances are beginning to strike me as outlandish. I'm in a landlocked city right now. The motel's pool shouldn't be this deep, and the clouds were cloaked in the moon, if I remember correctly. This has to be a nightmare, right? And just like that, my limbs unlock. Gasping for air as my body vaults out of the tide. The ocean breeze entering my lungs makes my organs feel crisp and raw. I fear that I'm going to fucking vomit as I hyperventilate. The shock from it all causes me to sprint to my feet on the shore. As I straighten myself up, muck slides out of my fur. A sickly mixture of sand and seawater returns to the place it came from. Some of it warms back in between my toes, and I instinctively lift my feet out of the water to sift it out. I'm perplexed as to how I got to the shore. I was certainly drowning not even a minute ago. Every part of me is drenched. My muzzle, my fur, my clothes, all of it wet and covered in glassy grit. Maybe my perception of space got warped from the sensation of drowning? Was I that disoriented? But then, my theory of a dream returns to the surface. If we were in a landlocked city, how am I at a beach? Maybe I'm still in sleep? Whether I am or not, my head is hurting too much to make heads or tails of this bullshit. The wind hits me like a 16-wheeler. The frigid sensation courses from my head to my feet and back. There's only one word I can shiver out of myself. Tell! After a while, I finally take my eyes off my feet and the scum before looking up toward the night sky. What I'm met with fills me with harrowing nostalgia and even more questions than before. I used to run down this beach with my friends and stepbrother 15 years ago. The moon dances on the water, welcoming me back home. It's almost as if I never left the town. I can't help but be enraptured in the moment, before the cool air strikes me once again. Turning back, I trudge my ankles through the ocean as I struggle to get to dry land. The mud from before is replaced with dry, cutting grains of sand. It's almost worse than the sticky mixture I was dealing with. My brain compels me to double-check my surroundings. One landmark in particular will confirm if I'm there or not. A shaky chuckle escapes me as the cliff enters my vision. Back then, it was another playground for us. We typically come over with scratches from the debris people dumped there, as well as the occasional tick or two. The memory of Mom plucking them off Mason during his first time there humors me a bit. The fog from my breath dances in the air as I sigh. I am at our destination, Silverstone. The revelation fills me with so many emotions at once. Relief, wistfulness, confusion, and fear. The dream theory enters my brain once more. Everything is so vivid, and I can swear the wind and the damp fur is real. There is absolutely no way I slept for a full day. I refuse to believe Kelsey let me out of the car without waking me up, much less to the goddamn beach. Before I lose myself into another rabbit hole, my eyes return to the cliff. A new structure atop it invades my gaze. It's a lighthouse! The sight of a lighthouse confirms that I'm still asleep. Silverstone had never been a port town. Even if it was, who would be around to build such a big structure? The light is also turned off. I can only scratch my head in confusion while water and sand gets into my claws. As fake as I am convinced this all is, it feels all too real. Ancient's laughter makes my body tremble. I pinch my arm in an attempt to jolt myself awake. Instead, I drop blood and the salt water stuck in my fur seeps into the wound, increasing the pain tenfold. Wow. Fucking hell! I grasp at the wound and try to suck the discussion mixture out, and I can't help but retch as the brine hits my tongue. Jesus! Gotta tell. I'm chanting to myself to pick up the pace. My feet transition from hammering the loose sand to stepping on the sidewalk. While the beach and cliff are somewhat recognizable, the town is dressed in an eerie blue from the midnight sky. A few cars haphazardly adorn the streets. There's not nearly as much as when we lived here, though. Some trash flies past my feet as I take the surroundings in. It's almost like something out of a zombie film. I wonder if the few people that are here would swarm at me if I fired a gun. The pain from my arm starts to subside a bit, but the wind is only picking up. Not only that, it feels as if there's no singular direction it's coming from. I spy a paper cup dancing around the street. It's like an invisible force is playing ping pong with it. It's not helping that it's getting colder. The bitter air pulls my gaze away from the piece of garbage and towards the windows of a boutique. What stares back at me from the window is a shaking, pathetic, and sopping wet reflection of myself. His hands clenched around his arms. Inside of the small shop is a bunch of touristy crap on shelves decorated with dust. Loser. I mocked myself and fling my drenched faux hawk out of my eyes before continuing my mission. The search for a towel goes on longer than expected, and a trail of wet footprints march behind me. The visual sight of a homely little shop with t-shirts and towels outside is much more welcoming than usual. I wrench one of the towels off its hanger, the neon reds and yellows being one of the few semblances of color underneath the night sky. Is this place abandoned? My head tilts towards the stars as I begin to cradle the cloth around my body. The stars and moon at the beachfront have abandoned me, and all I can make out now is a black void. It's an unreal sight. No, an unreal experience. It feels as if looking at it longer will suck me up into the sky, my body hanging limp as whatever is up there takes me. My eyes fight their way back down, and I don't dare look behind me out of fear that all light is gone. Electricity courses down my body as the unwelcoming inky black of the night sets its eyes on me. Before I can make sense of this anomaly of a town, my hands guide themselves to my pockets. If this somehow wasn't a nightmare, I had just potentially robbed a small family out of $20-something. That price was almost a robbery itself, though. Water cascades down to the concrete as I opened up my wallet. The bills inside were torn, pulpy, or both. It takes me a while to sift my way to some decent looking ones. Then I slide the paper under the shop door. My legs are still under attack by the town's strange air, but I let out a sigh of relief as the towel warms my arms and torso. I try to rub the salt water out of my wound, but it's less effective than I thought it would be. At least one problem is solved, though. The only thing I can do now is soldier on until I find a way out of this enigmatic land. I don't know if it's the cold air or the unsettling premise of the situation, but before long, it already feels like my legs will snap if I take another step. I attempt to distract myself by wondering if this is what lucid dreaming is usually like. I've never met anyone who's had an experience like this, so it's hard to tell. All I do know is that my paw pants are fucking aching from hobbling down the street. I finally collapse. A sharp pain crawls up my spine as my ass hits the ground. The wall behind my head isn't comfortable by any means, but it's not as chilly as the sidewalk. Just 5 minutes, then I'll walk some more. The ridiculous nature of the situation contradicts the serious tone of my words. No one's ever died from a dream, I repeat in my head. My tongue meets salt water once again as I try to wet my lips, dried by the cold air. It feels as if I'm in a hurricane. The unnatural wind is running laps around me. 5 minutes turn to 10, 10 to 20, 20 to 30. At least, that's what it feels like. And then suddenly, it's all dead. Silence fills the town and the storm dissipates. The latest sound reminds me of those anechoic chambers my professor liked to show videos of in class. A room full of quiet yet loud anxiety. Stars fill the sky again, and the shadow cast by my right tells me that the moon has returned as well. Everything settles into an uneasy peace. My vision blurs as I scan the street, wondering how to continue. But maybe, just maybe, if I fall asleep in the dream, it will wake me back up? That has to be a possibility, right? My first skids against the wall behind my head as gravity takes its course. My eyelids start to shut, and the town around me gets hazier and hazier. But an electric hum interrupts the nighttime ritual. A decrepit phone booth now illuminates the street in front of me. My eyes adjust to the light, and I notice that paint is chipped off of the sides of the structure. Not only that, but the door is off track and slightly ajar. I remember using that booth once or twice as a kid, but it had never been this worn down. It's a miracle the light inside even works. The ringing from the phone jolts me up to my feet. I wait a bit to see if my brain is just playing a sick prank on me. It doesn't stop. What is this, the Black Phone? More specifically, the sequel? Have you all seen that trailer of the Black Phone 2? Because I never watched the Black Phone, but I was referring to that one scene in the trailer where, like, the guy answers the phone in the phone booth. I don't know. It doesn't stop. I start to head over, going as fast as my weary legs will take me. The door fights against me, then a loud snap echoes through the air as I set it free. No need for privacy anyway. Dread begins to overwhelm me once I plant my feet in front of the phone. Something isn't adding up. I lift the phone off of its cradle before the realization strikes me. Payphones aren't supposed to get incoming calls. Before a word is even uttered, I feel as if I invited a primordial force straight into my home. My quivering breaths grow in volume as I finally bring the phone to my ear, the device shaking as I struggle to steady my hand. And so the lamb returns to join the slaughter. The voice that crawls from the device isn't what I expected. It's deep and husky, frightening yet seductive. I haven't a clue why you returned, young one, but I look forward to our reunion. The faint chuckles that seep through the phone light a wildfire inside of me. The warm tone they give out just makes it feel like whoever this is sees this whole situation as a joke. Who the fuck is this? I'm done with this sick bullshit. I just want to wake up. Dead air fills the conversation when I throw the question at them. Soft mumbles sneak through, but I can't understand a lick of it. My name is currently irrelevant. Just call me what you will. The stranger's tone returns to their sultry charisma, which leads me to more confusion and anger. Whatever, you're not real. You're just more of this stupid nonsense this dream is thinking up. As I'm about to bring the phone back down, a sharp burning sensation courses down my wrist to my elbow. Its path splits like the roots of a tree, dividing itself as it contours every vein in my arm. I can't help but let out a desperate air as I grip my arm tight as if that would stop the sensation. I almost fall to the floor, but I managed to prevent my knees from buckling. Whoever's on the other end seems delighted with my situation. I can assure you that I am very much real, Mr. Ames. A loud snap rings through the phone, its echo pulling the torturous agony out of my arm. I adjust back to reality. It's only now that I realize I'm more wet than before. Sweat drips off my muzzle to the metal floor below me. Now, are we ready to be more cordial with one another? Despite my reservations about whoever or whatever this is, I can only nod my head like an idiot. My only audience is the glass panels around me. A quiet yet sinister chuckle escapes them. It's as if the stranger can see me through the device. Most people will yell at a barbarian again. You've grown into quite the young man, Ezekiel. Never call me that! The voice that bellows out of me is unlike anything I've heard from myself. Maybe because I don't know who's on the other end? I tense up, preparing for another lash of the torture from before. Apologies, I forgot you don't like that name. The repentant tone from the stranger doesn't fully ease my worries. Nevertheless, my shoulders sink back down from the bottom of my ears. If it would be alright with you, I much prefer if we could talk face to face. Face to face? That's creepy. Wait, is there anyone? Wait, is there anyone? Is there anyone here? Am I missing someone? Because for a second I thought I was gonna do that thing where the guy's like, I want to meet face to face, and he's like right outside the phone booth. That would have been so crazy. What? But I'm trying to wake up. I want to escape this nightmare. You are the patients. What do you mean, patient? And I am your caretaker, Mr. Ames. He's in the lighthouse! Oh, that was my second guess. The environment adjusts itself from a deep midnight blue to a sickly bright red. It's now nearly impossible to tell apart the glow from the other colors on the buildings. If you would, please come to the lighthouse. I'd like for us to catch up. The odd statement pulls me away from the new color and back into the call. Catch up? The fuck do you mean catch up? Before I get to hear an answer, the tone dial swells forth. More irritated than ever, I slammed the phone back down and set my sights on my destination. The Silverstone lighthouse. The lighthouse that never existed. I almost wish I stayed in the booth as I take a look around. The garish mixtures of reds, pinks, and browns caused my stomach to churn for some reason. While bringing my towel closer to me, I begin to walk. Occasionally, I pat myself dry from the sweat. The attempts are futile, however. The ocean water has already burrowed into my shirt. It sticks to my torso like glue, and the sweating won't stop due to all the nausea the light gives me. I try to look away from the buildings, but it's almost as if the light causes the wooden bridge to dance away into the night. It's horrifically mesmerizing. It isn't long before I stumble off the sidewalk and into the bushes leading up to the lighthouse. A ghastly combination of salt water and stomach acid expels from my body, the vomit coating the tip of my maw. The sensation of vomiting is just as bad when lucid dreaming as it is in the real world. Harsh, burning, and unwelcoming. My back arches as my eyes return to the light, and more bile rises from my stomach to my throat. The hypnotic spirals that the dancing walls create have turned the town from a dead wasteland to the equivalent of a college rave. Somehow it's an unpleasant change. I fall back into the forest, hoping I can find some solace beneath the branches and leaves. The trees are the only protection I'm able to get from the haunted signal. The little light that can peek through is enough to become an emetic. One tree that's fallen over has become victim to the light, however. I notice a knot on the wood starting to spiral, consuming and regurgitating its shape over and over. I jerk my vision away and bring my eyes down to the dirt path in front of me. Step by step, My feet play a game with the beam shining through the trees. It's almost like a dance to avoid the red light. As the trail brightens when I get closer to the cliff entrance, a pit opens deep down in my stomach. I debate about turning back, my pace slowing as the intensity of the light increases. Despite knowing it's all a stupid goddamn dream, my anxiety climbs down the ladder from my brain to my heart. The speed my heart beats at is unlike anything I've ever felt before. The drumming from it pounds in my ears, and it's almost worse than the anxiety itself. Once my foot's cover runs out, however, something tells me it's too late. And there it is. The intensity of the glow makes the open cliff feel oppressive. I can't help but feel like if I take one step backward, the trees would grab my arms and take me to my grave. The trail to the lighthouse is one of the vilest things I've ever seen. Grains of sand turn from innocent bystanders to worm-like creatures as the red glow illuminates it. I stumble onto the grass, frantically throwing the bits of the sand off my feet. I've always had issues with larvae and maggots. It's as if this trail peered deep into my soul. I try to get up, but the ground beneath my hand crumbles. Don't turn around, don't turn around. I chant over and over, plea for myself to pull my hand from the dirt and return to my feet. Regardless, I disobey. Oh dear. As my eyes meet the black chasm of the water below, the echoes of the fallen rocks colliding against the cliffside ring out. The impact of the rubble is like hearing a pin drop. I can't help but watch the waves dance with each other as the red light reaches deep below, the broken white occasionally resembling a cruel smile. All silence is broken by the wavering hum coming from the top of the lighthouse. The noise brings me back to my senses. I roll onto my stomach and plant my hands on sturdy ground before finally pushing myself back to my feet. My body sways as I drag myself along the sand, the sky impossibly spinning around the cliff. It's as if we're in the center of a zoetrope, and the night is the moving pictures. Soon I find myself at the door. My gut twists into a knot as I wrap my hand around the doorknob. It's like a sinking ship is going down deep into the bile. I hesitate to open the door, hoping to sit down and figure out this non-Euclidean hellscape my brain dreamt up. That's when I hear the taps. The taps grow into steps, and the steps grow into stops. Who's behind me? My neck is as stiff as a board. Whatever this thing is, my body is telling me that it's out to get me. Then the sound returns, along with something cold and rancid brushing past my fur. I swing the door open and trap myself inside the lighthouse, only getting a brief peek at the beast that was standing behind me. Who the fuck was that? Oh, okay, I see a little bit of a staircase. It's really dark. The dizzying visage caused by the red light is gone, but my hyperventilating doesn't quell my nausea. My body dances its way into and up the wall, and I can't help but stare at the old wooden door. The first physical being I met in this nightmare, and it was trying to kill me. The fuck was that thing? My yells echo their way up the spiral tower, bringing me back down to reality. After a few deep breaths, I begin my ascent. It feels like these steps go on forever. I can only hope that it's just the dark enclosure warping my perception of time, and not another torture method being conjured. To my pleasant surprise, it isn't much longer before I reach the top. What is peculiar, however, is the spotless, ornate door that greets me. It's like those stairs that you randomly find in the middle of the woods, but in real life. I expect the giant lamp to cast a red glow into the stairwell, but the inside of the room appears to have its light shut off. Without much choice, I enter. Instead of being greeted by the top of a lighthouse, I'm met with something resembling Grandma's stuffy living room. I feel shag carpet under my feet as I enter, the matting quickly soaking up the water and sand. A faint light shines through the hallway opening. From the flickering, I'm guessing it's some candles about to burn out. I can't help but yell as the door slams shut behind me, the force so strong that the pain throbs my arm from still holding on. I take a few sharp breaths before trying to find out who I came here to see. Yo, we spoke on the phone in town? Are you still up here, man? Nothing. As if I'm on autopilot, my feet bring me to the next room. The moment I see the desk, my guess is that I'm in a writing room of some sort. A fairly old one, judging by the worn paper and the quill and the ink bottle to the side. It's only now that I'm able to see the garish pink floor wallpaper, which seems to be tearing at the seams from years of neglect. Old books and essays litter the floor, so much so that I end up stubbing my toes into encyclopedias multiple times. Someone has to be here. No one would leave that place alone with lit candles, right? Well, then again, in this nightmare... My ears perk up as I hear a flame spark into existence. Oh, he's here! A harsher light flickers on in the next room over, and a shadow casts itself against the wall. Its appearance is that of a canid. The figure moving keeps me from guessing the species exactly, though. I guess I won't find out until I enter. I take a step in and... What the fuck? What the fuck? A jackal clothed in what can only be described as a crawling ink blot holds me by the throat. Shadows dance around them, their smell resembling that of toxic fumes. The only semblance of light comes from where their eyes would be. They open their snout briefly, and the ink wraps itself around each and every vein the jackal has. They tower over me, my feet dangling in the air as they lift my entire body up with just one hand. The person caresses the thumb across my cheek, using it to tilt my head, as if they're examining me. Ah, apologies. I've been expecting you, Ezekiel. Who the fuck are you? Only when the jackal sits me down do I realize just how tight the grip of my neck was. Wheezes escape me as I try to shovel air into my system. The jackal pays it no mind, though, instead closing the book and shelving it. I thought you would have arrived a tad later. Pity, I wasn't a good chapter. My breath finally catches up to me, and I hobble up to my feet, instinctively grabbing onto a table as I feel my knees weaken. You mortals really are frail. I forgot about that. Don't get visitors often? My attempt at a comeback goes largely ignored, the jackal instead beckoning me over to some expensive chairs. They tap a digit on the small green one, presumably to say that one's mine. Despite my reluctance, I walk over and seat myself. The questionable canid heads into another room, then another candle is set alight. From what I can glimpse from where I'm seated, I can see the jackal waving their hand to open some cabinet doors. Are you craving anything? I've got tea, some gingerbread cookies. I'm really not fucking hungry right now. Oh, please don't be so barbaric, Ezekiel. No language like that in my domain, please. I'm pretty sure I told you I don't want to be called that. The jackal walks back in, the kitchen candle blowing itself out as they strive toward the red chair across from me. In the short time they were gone, they had made a new pot of tea. Despite how old-fashioned this bean seemed to be, they owned an electric kettle of all things. You did. Zeke is so unrefined, however. I prefer Ezekiel much more. I'm not going to talk to you if you keep calling me that. The jackal lets out a mix of a snarl and a sigh, breaking their concentration away from me. It's hard to make out the jackal's expression, but if I had to guess, it would be unamused. They take a sip of tea before returning their gaze to me. You seem awfully calm for someone who's meeting an immortal being, Mr. Hames. Right. Well, this is all just a fucking bad lucid dream, or I'm just riding the wave until I either die in it or wake up. The jackal darts out of their chair, slapping me across the face. The shot is enough to throw off my chain of thought. They walk back to their seats, picking up the tea from the vanity to set it on. Language. I readjust myself as the canid sits back down, taking another sip of tea. The shadowy ink molding itself around their fangs hides the brew entering their mouth. Now then. Yes, this is a dream, in mortal definitions. You retire to bed and enter a state of REM sleep where your consciousness creates an estate for you to live in for 6 to 8 hours. Yes, that's what a dream is. However, through our connection, I am able to commandeer these words you make, Mr. Hames. The only reason I haven't done so yet is because you left Silverstone many years ago. Your return is the catalyst to me hitching a ride, and very soon we can complete what you didn't, all those years prior. I sit with my snout hanging open, unable to comprehend what this being is talking about. All I know is that I would have remembered knowing, talking to, or hell, even seeing a person such as this if I had encountered them before. The jackal's cloak almost crunches as they frown, dissatisfied with my lack of response. A sigh escapes them as they turn away, almost in a pensive state. I suppose that my fondness wouldn't be reciprocated. It was pretty traumatic by mortal standards. Traumatic? Connection? You know what? Whatever. I'm going back. Maybe then whatever bull crap you're spewing will probably make sense. Yes, I suppose it will. But don't take my hospitality lightly, Mr. Hames. We are not allies. We are not even supposed to be amicable with each other. When you wake up from this dream, I will hunt you down. Like a sociopath who tortures an animal for the first time, I will not stop until you and I are complete. What are you? How the fuck do you say that? Aspergissimony. Before I can finish my question, I feel my body fall into the chasm conjured below me. Images of the past flood my mind. Some are as clear as day, such as the day that Dad taught Mason how to ride a bike. And some are only fragments that would cause something electrical to shoot down my spine if I attempt to piece it together. My brain pounds and my insides will stop turning. It feels like everything burns and aches and burns. I shut my eyes, pressing my wrist to the edge of my temples, hoping for this fallen to end. I can only pray for this nightmare to fucking stop. Light blinds my vision as the sun seeps into the room from behind the curtain. I roll away from the window, rubbing the back of my poor head, which had just collided with the floor. A small whine escapes me as I curl into a ball, desperately reaching out for the blanket on the bed. That's a weird fucking dream. After miserably failing at that task, I slowly get up and rub my eyes awake. My nose scrunches as I can't help but snort up my runny snot. I get back under the covers to shield myself from the cold air conditioning. I grab my phone from the nightstand and unplug it from its charger as I check my messages. Never mind. He has no friends. I divert to checking my timeline, hoping to see some comments or jokes, just anything to take my mind off that nightmare. It's hard to focus on the post though, as the sound of shower water hammering the tub in the bathroom echoes throughout the room. Like usual, Kelsey is early to rise. The clothes that she had laid out for herself the night before had already disappeared from the dresser, and her toiletries had vanished as well. Finally sensing it's time to get up, I throw the covers off of my legs and pull out a random t-shirt from my suitcase. Next comes the underwear and the shorts. Then finally, my own set of deodorant and fur products. As if on cue, the shower water's pounding turns to quiet tapping, with the screech of the shower handle overpowering it. It's not long before Kelsey strikes into the room, still drying off the top of her head. Her attire is her thumbprint on business casual like usual. So that's Kelsey. So not flamboyance. Got you. I guess I wasn't really paying close attention to the photo. Love that. I see you're finally up, sleepyhead. I groaned at the lighthearted jab. Morning to you too. There's still some hot water if you want to hop in now. We're running late as is. I'll try to be quick. Kelsey pats me on the shoulder as she walks over to the nightstand, picking up one of the brochures strewn across it. She sits cross-legged on her bed, letting her towel rest on her head as she flips through the pages. I'll try and find somewhere we could get breakfast. It's gonna be a while until we reach PDX. I mean, I'm fine with just some drive-thru or something. Onto my watch? No. We're just some actual food, not reheated hockey pucks and potatoes. I roll my eyes and exit the conversation, closing the bathroom door as I throw my fresh clothes onto the damp counter. The mirror is still fogged up from Kelsey's shower, and the muggy air makes it feel like my clothes are sticking to me. My bra should slide off without a hitch, but my shirt fights against my messy fur. It's always a battle in the morning just to take a shower. Once it flies off of my head, I'm met with the same mystery I see each morning. That stupid fucking star planted directly over my heart. I had asked my mom ages ago about how I got it, but she wouldn't entertain me. All I know is that I didn't have it before we evacuated, and I woke up with it, outside of Silverstone. That goopy ink blotch stranger guy is the reason behind it. That's his mark on you. That's his mark on you. That's my theory. That's my prediction. That's his mark on you. Mason suggested that it might be some supernatural shit. His historian-driven deep dives had led him to uncover some weird happenings from Silverstone. Honestly, sometimes it's hard to tell whether I'm talking to a history major or a conspiracy theorist. Whatever it is, I can't look at it for too long. Shit gives me a headache. Fuck! I wince as the shampoo burns my eye, the result of my head being in the clouds again. You okay in there? Yeah, I'm fine. I lean against the shower wall for a bit, letting myself soak in the stream. It's only when a speck of cold water hits me that I quickly turn the shower off. Water drips against the towels as I step out, before vigorously drying my fur with the only towel left. After a few spritzes of deodorant, I rustle my new shirt on, following it with an old shark-toothed necklace I haven't parted with since I got it. I slide my boxers and shorts on while I brush my fangs. The impromptu tangle causes me to spin while I jump on the ball of my left foot, cinnamon spit dribbling onto the floor. You use cinnamon toothpaste? Weird. One of these days, that kind of multitasking is going to get me killed. You almost done there? It just hit 9. I spin into the sink to drop my toothbrush into it, finally managing to cover myself. Just finished! I take the dry part of the towel and fold it around my toothbrush, patting it dry before returning to the room. When I come out of the bathroom, Kelsey's already on her laptop. Even when everyone else is on break, she needs to stay on a couple online courses to stimulate her mind. What you working on? I tease her, tapping the blunt end of my toothbrush on the laptop frame. She doesn't look up from the screen, her typing becoming more and more violent instead. This idiot still hasn't graded my paper on fluctuating patterns and consumer interests. Fluctuating what? Kelsey slams the laptop shut, stuffing it as well as its charger in her bag. She grabs her suitcase off of the desk and rolls it to the door. We're a bit late, so let's get our stuff into the car. It finally hits me that we really are almost there. 6 months ago, I didn't think it would actually be happening. Even the past couple of days didn't feel real in a way. But an overwhelming anxiety settles deep in my throat as it sinks in. The 6 of us are actually going bad today. And for some reason, I feel like I won't be able to turn back once my foot hits the sand. I've shifted around in my seat as I look out the window of this SUV. Compared to Texas, Oregon is very wet and green. Despite that, there's nothing incredibly interesting. Everything looks different yet the same to me. The tapping of the steering wheel breaks me out of my listless trance, and I turn to Kelsey, her eyes fixated on the road. Compared to other drivers, I've noticed that Kelsey is very safe when she's behind the wheel. It's reassuring, yet alien. My mom, although she's a helicopter parent, would have gotten us in close to 3 accidents by now. You doing okay? Yeah, I'm alright, I guess. How do you feel about seeing everyone again? I haven't thought about it much, to be honest. I try to find the words, but ultimately nothing substantial pops up. Nervous, maybe? There's no need to be. We've been talking online for months now. It's as if... I wait for Kelsey to finish her thought, but the car is only filled by the sound of tires staying down the open road. She's only half right about the talking, though. Mason, Kelsey, and Jake are relatively talkative in the group chat she created for us, but Silas and I aren't very outgoing compared to them. It's also such a rare sight to even see a typing notification from June, let alone an actual message. I'm surprised he even decided to come back with us. Hey, can I ask you a personal question? My ears perk up as the cheetah addresses me. I'm almost eager to know what sort of details she wants to know about me. Shoot. Kelsey tilts her head back a bit as she gulps, before briefly turning to me with a sigh. Why are you really coming back to Silverstone, Zeke? You've been nothing but nervous since the moment we left Texas. A sigh of my own slips out as I turn back to the trees outside, letting my head rest against the cold glass window. Everyone else got to talk about their last week there. Except for me. I guess it's just this weird sense of feeling left out. Your mom didn't even tell you what happened? I stretch behind my ear and rhythmically tap my foot against the floor of the car. This isn't exactly a conversation I want to have, especially with Kelsey of all people. She wouldn't tell me shit even if I won the lottery. All I know is that one day we're living with Dad and Mason in Silverstone, and the next, they've divorced, and we moved to bumfuck Texas. I am looking forward to seeing the others. I'm genuinely excited about that. But I need the answers I left here 15 years ago. The tense air in the car indicates that my answer was a bit heavier than Kelsey anticipated. We drive in silence for half an hour before the tunnel of trees turns into a concrete jungle. The once quiet roadway has turned into a city full of noise. People playing on the side of the road for money, police sirens wailing as they speed down the road. You name it, it's there. Kelsey elbows my side as I take in the colorful but cold side of Portland. She takes a sip of her soda, letting out a sigh of relief when she's able to talk. Can you text Jade that we'll be there in like 20 minutes? Yeah, just a sec. Hey, we'll be there in 20 minutes. Fuck yeah, just meet me by the baggage claim. Will do. He said to meet him by the baggage claim when we get there. Kelsey's grip around the wheel tightens, to the point where the leather around it makes an audible squeak. She lets out an exasperated sigh, taking one of her hands off of the wheel to run it across the back of her hand. Great, now I had to pay for parking. Hey, he and June are paying for the hotel rooms. It's the least we can do. Sure. Do you want me to pay for parking? It's not much, is it? It's fine, Zeke. Her cold demeanor forces me to clam up, returning to my phone for the majority of the time we spent in traffic. Kelsey has a reputation for being serious, but it sounds like venom is dripping off her words right now. Did something happen? What? Jake. Did something happen between you and Jake? Ask him about it. The cheetah's eyes are firmly on the road, with one of her hands covering the right side of her face. Huh, interesting. Great start to the reunion. Covering the right side of her face. I don't know any of these characters, but I'm gonna come up with some bullshit theories and predictions. I'm not gonna say them yet, because I don't want to talk about my ass. But if we get more information, I might speed them in a later part. I stared down the highway, spying PDS in the distance. The airport looks almost the same as when I was a kid. You go on ahead while I park, okay? The jarring shift in Kelsey's tone pulls me out of my nostalgia, and I turn to her. Her face isn't behind a wall anymore, but her piercing eyes are somewhat discomforting. He'll be faster that way. Okay. Kelsey gives me a small and brief smile before dropping me off by the revolving doors. I attempt to give her a quick goodbye, but she speeds off once my door closes. The noise around me from the cars and visitors starts to close in, and an overwhelming anxiety begins to grow. I stare into the airport, hoping to find Jake and possibly some answers. It doesn't take long for me to spot Jake. The raccoon is sitting on one of his suitcases, while the other one has a greasy paper bag full of fast food placed on it. He eats his breakfast sandwich, scrolling through his phone. I think he's about to text me, but a quick glance up causes his expression to brighten out of the bored face he had. I walk up and he pulls me into a tight one-armed hug. A bit of his sandwich grazes the back of my neck, and I try my best not to shiver in response. Damn, you fucking grew! He isn't wrong. His hug actually ended up pulling me down a bit, something I didn't expect. His height doesn't match his personality. When we were kids, Jake was the de facto big brother of the group. In a way, he was kind of like that to me. Before Mom remarried, she had to hire a babysitter to watch me. That babysitter was none other than Jake's mom. Being 2 years older than most of us, he was taller than myself and the rest, barring maybe Silas. Guess he stopped growing at some point, because now I'm tilting my head down on him and he's on his toes wrapping his arm around me. It's good to see you, man. I honestly didn't think you'd come. To be honest, neither did I. Kelsey here too? She's parked in the car, told me to go ahead of her. Jake stretches the back of his neck with a guilty expression draped across his face. I picked up the remaining suitcase, as well as the food sitting on it. Everything cool between the two of you? What happened, Jake? She's pissed, isn't she? I don't even need to say a word to answer that. The raccoon sighs before taking another bite of his sandwich. It's kind of between us if that's okay. I might talk to her tonight about it. Well, if you say so. Jay starts to speed towards the doors, casually flipping me off while laughing. I almost tripped trying to catch up with him, but to my surprise, I end up beside him fairly quickly. Maybe because you're tall and he's short as fuck. There's some food for you and Kells in there as well, by the way. A peace offering? I jest, and the raccoon elbows my side with a toothy grin. It's like 4 hours to get to Silverstone. I figured I could get you guys some shit to eat at least. God, you just had to remind me. Jake keeps turning to look up at me as we search for the SUV. He looks like he's stifling a laugh, so I reluctantly indulge him. What's up? Nah, it's nothing. I whack the back of his head, though harder than I intended. Jake laughs, finally stuffing the greasy sandwich wrapper into his pocket before massaging where I struck him. Liar, tell me. No, really, it's just... You got an accent. Huh? Yeah, you sound a bit like this. I attempt to ignore his very poor Texan accent, but he isn't wrong. Shut up. Hey, it's cute. Bet you get all the Texan gays with a voice like that. I don't think I want to be honest. We continue to search for the SUV. Either Kelsey parked really far into the garage, or she ditched us at the airport. What about you? You seeing anyone right now? Jake stumbles as I ask the question. I attempt to catch him, but he recovers and speeds past me, turning a corner as he answers. Not right now. Haven't found anyone I'm interested in. Shame. My last girlfriend also complained about my smoking, so I should probably get that habit first. The raccoon finally turns back to me, looking a bit frustrated by now. Leaning on his suitcase, he pulls his cell phone out of his pocket, scrolling through our group chat. Hey, do you have any bars? I don't have Kelsey's number saved yet. No need to call. Jake jumps as Kelsey walks in from behind us. Despite the reunion, she doesn't attempt to put on a friendly face, instead crossing her arms and wearing a blank expression. I went looking for you guys, but I didn't see you. That's my bad. I'd like to think I'm a good liar, but judging by both of their faces, I need some practice. You pulled Jake out of the airport? Yeah. The goes on for a bit too long. Well, the car's this way. The Chia turns before either of us can answer. We follow, trying to keep up the pace with her. Jake clears his throat loudly, to the point that it echoes throughout the garage. Kelsey's ears perk a bit, but dart back down just as quick. It's good to see you, Kels. An awkward silence walks alongside us after that, the anticipation of Kelsey's response being the only thing to cut through it. Finally, she turns her head back towards him. She still looks serious, but her expression has softened a bit. Good to see you too. Jake looks at me like a pet would. If his eye color was just a bit darker, a good boy would unironically slip from me. Kelsey and I load the raccoon's luggage into the back, and he scrambles in after, climbing over the seat and accidentally kicking my headrest. Hey, be careful in there! Sorry. What's that? She points to the greased-up paper bag in my hand, which I almost forgot I was holding. He got some breakfast sandwiches. I'm not that hungry right now. You can have mine. Kelsey! No! I'm not gonna take your sandwich! I sigh, already fully drained before all 6 of us are even together. I don't want to subject Jade to the sight of me eating his peace offering. I take the sandwich out. Just a plain egg, ham, and cheese sandwich. Then stare at Kelsey, pleading for her to tear the wall down. He got this because he's trying to be nice, Kelsey. He didn't have to. I pinched the bridge of my nose in frustration. I love Kelsey, but her stubborn attitude can really piss me off sometimes. That's not the point. I don't know what happened within the past week or so for you to be this cold, but... I looked at the pavement, trying to find more words to say. To my surprise, however, Kelsey grabs the sandwich out of my hand. She looks it over before taking a small bite. I can't gauge a reaction from her, but I'm just glad she took even one nibble. Thanks. The cheetah wordlessly heads to the front seat, finally cracking a small smile. I pull out my own sandwich. Crazy how Jade still knows my order years later. Even told him to take the cheese off. Yep, signal's dead. Mine too. I toss my phone into my lap and let out a deep groan. I should have expected the signal to get worse as we go, but it still feels a bit too early for it to drop. Won't be needing this anymore then. Kelsey slides her phone back into her pocket, closing her Maps app while doing so. Not that she needs it for much longer anyway, since we're about 10 minutes out from our destination. Along the way, we pass by where we'll be staying. Silverstone's hotels are all poorly kept. Some didn't even answer Jade when we called to make the reservations. We decided a small motel a bit out of the way would be fun to stay in. Hey, what's the name of the pizza place we're picking them up at? I tore my body to look at Jake, who has made himself more than comfortable in the back seat. His feet are plastered onto the window and he's playing a shitty puzzle game on his phone. Giovanna's. I wait for him to finish his sentence, but he did this for quite a bit. He finally taps his phone and looks up at me. Or something like that. He smiles before proudly showing me his complete puzzle. I snicker, shoving my hand in his face. Yeah, I'm proud of you. A burst of light shines through the window as the trees begin to clear. Jake covers his face with his arm, taking the brunt of it. I sit back up and look out Kelsey's window, taking a big gulp. We're almost there! The desolate town looks like a stain on an otherwise lively coastal area. Even from the roadside cliff, I can see windows boarded up and paint chipping on the side of the houses. You nervous? It'd be weirder if I wasn't. The car dips back into the trees as we continue down the cliff and onto flat land. Jake almost falls off his seat as the road becomes unsteady. The sound of ocean water starts to rumble from the outside. Its increasing volume brings me back to the dream from last night. My stomach begins to turn from the mixture of the hypnotic waves and the bumps in the road. I close my eyes for a moment, but it isn't long before I can feel the vehicle slowing as we exit the forested route. The road begins to smooth out, although not by much. The tossing and turn grows less frequent and I can hear the wheels creep along the pavement. The lack of voices from outside unsettles me, but it isn't surprising. At least it makes it easier for us to find the others. I jump as I hear Kelsey turn the engine off and feel a hand tap me on the shoulder. We're here, man. Okay, I believe this is where we did leave off for today. We didn't meet the entire crew yet, but to be fair, that dream sequence was a bit long. I can see the echo resemblance. A group of fans are reuniting in their hometown. But I'm pretty sure that's where the resemblance ends. But to be fair, it's not like Echo has done that originally before. I mean, Morinatsu did something similar to that, with the main character Hiroyuki coming back to his childhood home of Minnesota, and to reunite with all his friends. Let's see, like, this isn't a new premise, but it's what the visual novel does that makes the surrounding plot around it interesting. Okay, so what we know so far, obviously the main character. I said jock type. I was kind of wrong about him. I guess he was more the big brother type, but he's short now, so it doesn't really fucking matter about him. But he has something with Kelsey. They were together at one point. I'm pretty sure they were together at one point. But he did something to piss her off, and we have no idea. Well, can't wait to play more of this to see what's up. In the meantime, thank you all so much for clicking on this video. If you enjoyed it, give it a like, and subscribe if you're really interested. I'll leave a link to the game in the description below if you want to play for yourself. I'll also leave links to my Blue Sky if you want to support me on that platform. And as always, I'll be leaving a link to the visual novel me and my good friend Scissor Red Panda made for the Furry Game Jam called When You Are Mine. Please do show your support to it, and if you do enjoy it, maybe consider rating it and commenting on it on itchio. We love reading those, it makes our day. And as always, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye!